You know, one of the things that's been heartening during this pandemic is to see the good side come out and express itself so widely, not universally, but these, people who are singing to each other, making music despite social distancing, and uh, the we have grandchildren who produce just wonderful art, and you can find videos online of things that children and that other people are creating, and it's so heartening. It's so heartwarming to see this in the face of this big threat.
I think that's a wonderful point, isn't it? Because what it shows us is that all of us are yearning for connectedness. We have a yearning for this, right? That's very, very important. And the second thing is that actually, compassion is not weak in any way. You think about all of the medics and the nurses and the doctors who are risking their lives to
Yeah,
save us, right? They're putting their lives on the line. Firefighters or every day put their lives on the line to save us. Compassion is one of the most courageous motives known to humans, right? Because we will engage in suffering. We will put ourselves in harm's way to save others. We will do what we can to address other people's suffering. So it's a phenomenally important motivation, but it gets suppressed because we get caught up in our competitive, needing a job and want to earn money and you need to all that stuff. So that competitive system can sometimes overlay this compassion. But what you're saying is so important that when the conditions are right, we need to become compassionate. Not everybody, but most of us yearn for this connectedness, this caring and sharing of each other, this supporting of each other through the dark times. And even, as you say, in the case of our medical profession, risking their lives to do it. I mean, it's quite extraordinary. So on the one hand, you've got this amazing
yeah.
outpouring of compassion, and yet, just less than 100 years ago, we had the Holocaust and goodness knows what. So it's coming to terms with the fact we are a species of extremes, and it's coming to terms with the fact that we have to work out how we are going to address the dark side of the mind. And part of what living like crazy is to say, look, compassion is not stupid. Compassion is not naive. This is the dark side. And if we're going to develop a compassionate society and build on these wonderful things that are happening, it's not about let's just be nice and kind. It's about how do we address the dark side? Because it will try to emerge again. I mean, the right wing, the self-focus, the selfishness, the me first psychology, that will try to emerge again. So we have to find ways in which we have compassionate solutions for the dark side.
Do you have any reflections for people who about getting through this pandemic? There are people out there that are very fearful, feeling isolated, and so on.
Well, yes, I think the first thing is that although it's very, very difficult to tell because the figures that are being thrown at you all the time are very, very tough. The evidence is, look, this for most people who are not over a certain age, over 70 or whatever the age is, and don't have underlying health conditions, for most people, if you did get the virus, you would recover. And there are people, the other thing to focus on, there are people who are working, who will work to save you, who will risk their lives to save you. So this is a very important focus for us to recognize we are also living in a world where there are all these amazing people who will do everything they can to save me. Rather than focusing on my fear, I focus on the compassion of others there to be helpful to me.
Uh-huh.
The next thing that you say, so this is focusing on, isn't this amazing? We've got these people out there that they will try and help me as best they can. That changes the psychology. See, if I just focus on I'm frightened myself, me,
Uh-huh.
uh, that really locks you in your fear system. But if you think, yes, I am frightened about that, but just let me keep in my mind all these amazing, wonderful people who will be there to try to help me as best they can, that will change your orientation. The second thing you ask is about how do we deal with loneliness? And this is such an important point. I think the key thing, as you say, is try to use whatever technologies you can. Try to find out if there are any groups around you who are involved in helping others, because one of the things that's important is the feeling that we're making a contribution. You know,
Mhm.
some people say, it's not just that I'm lazy, it's not just that I'm lonely, but I feel just sitting here in myself in my flat or whatever, I'm not doing anything. Who needs me? I'm not making a contribution. So try to find out from the internet or whatever if there's any groups around you who are delivering food packages or whatever it is, charities that you could get involved with. Get involved with a charity that's out there helping people, because that will help you feel better. You'll feel part of something, right? So it's
Yeah.
not just talking to friends and relationships. That's very important, but try to get involved with a voluntary organization or something like that. And then the other thing, of course, is using the time to develop whatever you want to do. So use the time to do a course online or learn a foreign language or whatever. So
Yeah.
there are lots of different processes, I think, but connectedness, wherever you have an opportunity to form a connectedness to other people, do try and do that as best you can.